Welcome back. You are tuning in to Traders Nation. I'm pleased to have with us another original broadcast interview, this time with Jay Taylor. He's editor of Jay Taylor's Gold and Technology Stocks, to name one of them. He's got several. Jay, of course, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Well, I'm terrific, Kurt.
Good, good. Listen, well, how did you come to write your newsletters that you have? And I'm going to name them off here: Jay Taylor's Energy and Energy Stocks, and, of course, Jay Taylor's Gold and Technology Stocks. Boy, I tell you what, two newsletters in probably the hottest markets that we've got going on for these two industries.
Yeah, well, Kurt, my interest in gold really dates back to the late '60s, and I guess I'm dating myself a bit. When I was a sophomore in college, and I had a history professor who was absolutely convinced there was a correlation between the debasement of currencies and a country's work ethics and morality. And I thought that was an interesting concept, so I started watching what was going on in the late '60s. And of course, we had then the Vietnam War and the introduction of another wave of socialism in America through Johnson's Great Society program.
Yeah.
And how were the politicians going to pay for it? Well, they didn't want to tell us that we had to raise our taxes for that. They wanted to leave us to believe that somehow we could have whatever they wanted to give us for nothing.
Yeah.
And so we started printing money, tons and tons of money, and we started to see inflation raise its ugly head, of course, in the late '70s as a result, and a raid on the gold hoard in the United States by de Gaulle, because at that time we were on the Bretton Woods standard, the gold standard, still the international gold standard, and gold was leaving our coffers. And clearly the politicians were trying to have us believe that we could have something for nothing. And, Kurt, this is what I think is really devastating about what's going on today. Americans believe they can have something for nothing. So Mr. Bernanke is out there telling us that don't worry, we'll take care of you. We'll just lower the interest rates and everything will be fine.
Yeah, and that's not really going to be the case, because we're almost seeing a deja vu, aren't we, from back then?
We certainly are. I mean, what we're seeing, I think Congressman Paul read the Riot Act to Ben Bernanke the other day, and he was lecturing Bernanke on this notion that you could just print money and make all the problems go away. In fact, he was, I think, quite clearly and correctly stating that the problems we're experiencing with the crash in the equity market beginning in 2000, and now the subprime problems are all a result of the creation of money, not any other cause. And so, we're facing some real big problems in America right now. And, Kurt, what I've tried to do for my subscribers is find a solution to these problems. I don't want to just whine about problems. I don't want to just cry about them, but let's find a way to protect ourselves and even profit from them, and that's really what I'm all about.
Jay, let me ask you, what would be the one thing that sticks out in your mind for traders, investors, can protect themselves in the current conditions that we're seeing right now?
Well, I think they have to realize that Mr. Bernanke is telling us that he's going to continue the same policy. The only thing the Fed knows to do to avoid a recession or a depression is to print more money. And what are the repercussions of that? Well, it's going to be higher inflation. So how do you protect yourself against inflation? You start with gold, because gold is money. I saw a very interesting a newsletter the other day. Somebody said, an ounce of gold is an ounce of gold. A barrel of oil is a barrel of oil. What is a dollar?
Right.
Well, a dollar, it cannot be defined because they're creating so much of it, so many dollars, that it's constantly losing its purchasing power. So what we need to do is buy tangible assets, starting with gold. And in our portfolio, we also look at, of course, silver, and we're looking at mining companies, Kurt.
Sure.
And the Canadians are really the people that are providing, they have the technological know-how to find this stuff. So our focus is on Canadian mining companies, the guys that are finding this wealth in the ground, and we've done exceptionally well with that.
Yeah. Now, I can't help but wonder, because, with inflation, I mean, you've got, isn't it like economics 101, where, you've got dilution going on with the dollar? I mean, can't people get smart about that? What's going on?
Yeah, I think there's a grand deception, quite frankly, from the ruling elite that wants us to take our eye off the ball. I mean, as Congressman Paul said the other day to Ben Bernanke, you never talk about increasing the money supply, debasing the currency. All you talk about is lowering rates.
Right.
So people, I think, are kept in the dark really about what's going on. What you say this is economics 101. You increase the supply of something, it loses its value.
Right.
And they're increasing the supply of dollars at a more and more rapid rate. And so we're seeing the dollar crash against other currencies right now. And that does have repercussions for Americans, because it means imported goods are going to be more expensive. It means that exported goods are going to be more expensive. And of course, just the sheer amount of money that's sloshing around will bid up prices.
All right. Now, Jay, What is the solution to that, and is there any pain for the American consumers or for Americans in general? I mean, how can we stop the slide of dollar, because the bears have been dining on it? How can we stop the slide of dollars, reverse the trend, and if we can, where's the pain going to be?
Well, the only way that the process can be reversed is that the policymakers have to stop doing what they're doing. They have to do what Paul Volcker did in 1980, and that would be extremely painful right now. So I believe that what the policymakers are going to do is continue to print more and more money, and it will be painful for Americans. It will either be painful through inflation if we continue the process we're doing, and that's why I'm suggesting and urging people to take their savings and buy gold and buy silver and buy mining stocks that are doing well, because you can hedge yourself against this inflation that's coming by doing those things. But I don't have much hope for the policymakers. I mean, Congressman Paul is the only one I hear on the presidential list of presidential candidates that is really speaking the truth about this. The rest of them all want to continue on with life as it is and buy, for the next quarterly profits for the next election.
Yeah.
And so, we really need to do what Paul Volcker did. That's from a policy point of view, but I don't have much hope for that. So what I'm really looking at is, given what the political reality is, how can we, first of all, protect ourselves and protect our wealth? Secondly, how can we prosper and make money from it?
Right, and here we go back to the old faithful gold as a hedge. Now, what type of trader or investor would benefit from your newsletter? Long-term, short-term, swing trader, what?
Yeah, we're mostly long-term value-oriented investors. We do have somebody we work with named Roger Wegan, and he has a newsletter that we also are involved with that is trader-orientated, and people can learn about all of our newsletters if they go to webeatthestreet.com, webeatthestreet.com. But really, we're value-orientated investors. We're looking for companies that have gold and silver and copper and uranium and other things in the ground, and then we tell people how they can buy these Canadian stocks, because most Americans are kept in the dark by their brokers. They don't really have these things to sell, but Americans can buy Canadian mining stocks. And we have a broker that we work with that really specializes in this area. So, we're just trying to help people to keep their heads above water in an environment that we think is increasingly dangerous.
Okay, your newsletters, by the way, how many people do you have write for them, and how frequently does the newsletters come out?
We publish our gold newsletter weekly, and it's a very extensive 20 to 30-page letter.
Wow.
It usually covers one new buy recommendation and a couple stock picks of the week.
Sure.
Our energy letter is a monthly, but we have some alerts that we send out from time to time.
Right.
And Trader Roger Wegan's letter is also a weekly letter, and that really is for people that want to trade and have higher net worths and are capable of being involved and staying on top of the markets. But from my point of view, we're long-term orientated, value-orientated investors.
Sure. All right. And again, they can find that at webeatthestreet.com. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Now, what's interesting too, you said once in a while on the monthly energy letter, you send out you can send out an alert or what have you.
Yes.
Something really stands out. People got to know about it, right?
That's correct. If there's a new stock recommendation we want to make, we don't want to wait between monthly newsletters to do it, or there's a sell recommendation, or there's something going on in the uranium market. I'm extremely bullish on uranium and nuclear power. I think that's the way we're going to have to go, the world's going to have to go, given the difficulties that we have. Whether or not you believe that humankind is responsible for global warming, we have some real problems in creating enough oil and gas to suit the growing demands globally, especially with the growth in China and India and elsewhere.
Right. All right. Now, the companies you cover in your newsletter, Canadian, U.S., globally?
Predominantly Canadian, because, Kurt, those are the companies, the Canadians know how to find this stuff in the ground. That's one of the reasons the Canadian dollar is so strong, is because these guys, they have the technical expertise. So there's something like 1,700 little junior mining companies in Canada, and we're covering 70 or 80 of them, something like that, on an ongoing basis.
Right.
And they're exciting little companies. There's no place where you can get the kind of leverage you get if you have a company that finds 1 million ounces of gold in the ground. They have a very small capitalization.
Yeah.
Man, you can five and 10 baggers fairly frequently. Not all the time, but we have several of them on our list, and our average, just to give you an idea, our average junior gold stock is up 332%. It's up 50% this year, but 332 cents since we started recommending them. So, it's not a one-way street. There are ups and downs in this market, like any other market.
Yeah.
But we're in a bull market right now, and this is a sector investors need to be in if they're going to protect themselves and stay ahead of this inflationary problem.
All right, we're out of time. Once again, WeBeatTheStreet.com. Head on over there today. You've got WeBeatTheStreet.com, and you also have MiningStocks.com. Is that correct?
That's correct, MiningStocks.com, and there's also an energy website. They can go to all of them through WeBeatTheStreet.com.
WeBeatTheStreet.com. You can drill your way. I said drill your way. You can drill your way to these other sites. WeBeatTheStreet.com. WeBeatTheStreet.com. Head on over there today. And, of course, Jay Taylor, thanks for being on Traders Nation today. Appreciate your time and your expertise.
Well, thank you, Kurt. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. Jay Taylor, editor of Jay Taylor's Gold and Technology Stocks and a lot more. Stay tuned. Shotguns and more. We'll be right back.